Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free.
Last week, what we did was we started looking at the Buddhist path to fearless living, and based on the book, The Places That Scare You by the Buddhist nun Pema Children. And I want to take a minute to review it because I just, they put a lot about everything's in numbers. So, we're on this awakening, we're on this journey of awakening and keeping our hearts open. And this way that our heart stays open happens in two ways. Number one, the aha moment. And the other one is our conscious commitment to keep our heart opening to suffering. Remember, that's the one we're not so fond of. We love the aha moments. Aren't those great? Had a little spiritual moment. We could have a lot more spiritual moments if we would keep our hearts open to suffering. But we don't want to because that sounds so bad. And so, but it's this heart space that's open that heals and transforms ourselves and other people around us and our entire world. Well, part of the reason that we don't do it is the three lords of materialism. You remember what they are?
Ego?
No?
No, speech.
Believe? Yeah, speech. Speech, form, and the mind. So form is our three-dimensional world, how we're all distracted by and how cute it is. And speech is our beliefs that we're all distracted by and how crazy they are. And our mind, of course, is the one who takes all of that anytime it can, puts it together or takes it apart, whatever's most effective to keep you distracted from actually just being present to the moment of what's really happening. So our mind helps us have these peak spiritual experiences that we get addicted to. It tells us that it should be like that all the time or we're doing something wrong. And so, all that. Those are the things that actually keep us from opening up our hearts. Now, there's three characteristics to human existence, Buddhist perspective. Impermanence, egolessness, and suffering. Impermanence, remember? Nothing ever stays the same. We hate that. The ego part is we take ourselves too seriously. We think we're superior. We, use that superiority to judge everyone else. And then eventually life just sucks because nothing's good enough. Nobody's good enough. Everybody's got a problem. And, it's just this sort of downhill slide. And then my favorite, which is suffering, as if those two weren't already suffering. And we suffer because we have three misunderstandings. Number one, we think that all change should be predictable and understandable. And when it isn't, we suffer. We fix our identity, our personal identity. We decide who we are, we fix our identity. We fix other people's identity in our heads, and then from that point forward, they have no chance. And so what happens is we sort of miss the wonder of what can come from something we didn't expect because we got it all planned out and expected. There's nothing unexpected happening based on number one because we don't like it that way. So we don't let people be that way either. And we look for happiness in all the wrong places. My personal favorite, the moth into the flame. So whatever it takes to feel better right this second, we'll do that rather than long-term growth, long-term transformation, and long-term change. So in other words, according to the Buddhist path, we pretty much have had it wrong our entire lives. So I told you this was a lot like the Mastery of Love. It's painful at first, really painful. Although the Mastery of Love never got unpainful. But today we're going to look at so there's our condition. There's our sort of the condition that we're in. And now we're going to start looking at what we might do to change that condition. And so we're going to look first and foremost at meditation because first and foremost that is the practice that they use and that they believe is most transformational is meditation. Now, we want to start by saying we cannot underestimate our intolerance for pain and suffering we really don't like to be uncomfortable. Not at all. I was watching last night this show called Mountain Men. Anybody ever seen it on the History Channel? These guys live with nothing, hardly. No electricity, some of them. They live out in the wilderness. They skin animals for a living. They cut logs for a living. And man, it is hard life. And most of them are where it's snowing and freezing cold. There's bears and there's wolves. And I mean, these are smart, intelligent, talented people, but they want to live this outdoor life. This is what, is one of their values. Well, it's sad. Because for all of the romantic you ever wanted to do, live in a cabin in the mountains and just sustain yourself and live off your own land and your own vegetables, just watch this show. You'll have a whole new healthy respect for the answer is no, I'm really good where I'm at. Because we have so much. We're so lucky, we're so blessed that we have so much that we really, really are not good at tolerating discomfort. And in the Buddhist tradition, meditating is about experiencing our discomfort. It's called mindfulness. It's the foundation of all Buddhist training. It's called the home of the warrior. Sitting in meditation cultivates loving kindness and compassion right after you want to kill someone. And the reason is because we move closer and closer and closer to our uncomfortable thoughts and emotions that we have been successfully able to, in our waking hours, keep pushed away from us. But in this place of silence, when we don't run, when we stay, we invite the opportunity for all of those things to come in. And it's not just a mind experience. I mean, although in most of us who've probably learned meditation in a new thought perspective, it was a mind experience, but it was really a mind experience, mostly just not so much about paying attention to the body or paying attention even to the mind as it was to just escape all of it. The Buddhist perspective is exactly the opposite of that. There's no escaping allowed. So we want to know what's happening in our bodies. And Pema Children refers to it this way. She said it is a method of cultivating unconditional friendliness toward ourselves and for parting the curtain of indifference that distances us from the suffering of others. It is our vehicle for learning to be a truly loving person. It's not used to feel good or relieve stress or, any of those things, although it does those things. It is truly a tool for awakening, for becoming aware of what's happening in you, through you, as you. So you have to decide as you go into life, and even if you're a Buddhist, because she said it's very tempting either way, but you have to decide consciously, am I going to use this tool for a long-term change, or am I going to use it, for right this minute, just to feel better? Well, the good news is that meditation is one of those things that takes us just like we are. We don't have to meet up in any standard. We don't have to dress up. We don't have to come here. We don't have to smile if we don't want to. We don't have to do any of that. We just, however we're feeling, crazy, insane, distraught, whatever it is, meditation just allows us to be that and begins to meet us and marry with us wherever we are. And in this place where we do the willingness to sit and the willingness to sit through whatever comes up, and in this space of becoming more aware of ourselves. Of course, the Buddhists have another word for that too. And I am so bad at words that are not just English, but it's matri, something like that. So, and this is the thing that's really important about Buddhist meditation and about this particular path, and that is that it is not behavior modification. I always thought behavior modification was a good thing, until I realized that it's just what it says it is, behavior modification. You have to keep modifying. You have to keep doing it. You have to consciously keep up with whatever it is that you want to change that you don't want other people to see about you. It's not transformation. It's control. And when you can't do it anymore, this wonderful person who everyone has seen and says, ah, and then you have a moment where that control goes out the window and you look like some demon that nobody knows. Everybody wonders when the heck happened to you. You can just know it was behavior modification.
Bless all